you marked a very important year called 2014 and the constitutional evolution. Many times when you go to the Western institutions, it might send a different message that there is something happening in Indian constitution post 2014, and what is happening is the current government trying to distort the constitution. This is a general feeling that at the Western side I keep seeing it, be it in Oxford and other places. We have to understand, if at all we are talking about constitution, the ethos of constitution, protecting the constitution, it is more in the last few years. I'm going to make certain comparisons post 2014 and before that. Our constitution is amended about 106 times, 106 times till now. And post 2014, we have done it 8 times, starting from 99th Amendment, 100 till 106. If somebody is carefully studying what are those last 8 amendments post 2014 we have done. We did an amendment, the first amendment we did after 2014 is to exchange certain territories with Bangladesh because we had an agreement. We took some land from them, we have to give a land. Then we brought GST. We extended the reservation in the country for another 10 years, that is one amendment. We gave 1/3 reservation to our mothers and sisters, one amendment. We empowered the state governments to decide who should be the OBCs of our country, that is one amendment. We gave a constitutional mandate to the OBC Commission. These are the 8 amendments we have done post 2014, which each of those single amendment has actually strengthened the constitution, taken the constitution forward, so that what you mentioned about the preamble of the constitution, it is strengthening. If you go slightly previously, the kind of distortions we have seen. I'm only mentioning a couple of amendments, 24th, 25th, 29th, 39th, 42nd. These amendments I'm mentioning in particular because these are classics. When somebody talk about, oh, we preserved the identity of Bharat post 2000, post 1947 till about 2014, now everything is distorted. People should just go and read the 39th Amendment, which was simply brought in on a Thursday in the Parliament, August 7, 1975, which is a Thursday in the Lok Sabha. They brought an amendment to say nobody can question the election of a Prime Minister, the President, the Vice President, and the Speaker on a Thursday. August 8, 1975, which is a Friday, the Lok Sabha passes. August 9, 1975, which is a Saturday, 17 legislative assemblies of our country, suddenly they call for a session in the Legislative Assembly, they endorse it. August 11, 1975, which is a Sunday, the President signs it. Because August 12, 1975, the case against Indira Gandhi ji madam is coming in the Supreme Court. Have you seen this kind of distortion? 42nd Amendment. When we talk about the preamble now, certain insertion of words, the word called secular. Now the problem in our country is there is a syndrome that many of our folks have. It is called the over-secularization syndrome. They want to go overboard to prove they are secular. That is uncalled for, unfair. And they, with the distorted lens, they want to see whatever is happening to say that, oh, secularism is getting distorted. Even the recent attack that happened in Pahalgam, which Arnabji very evocatively spoke, if you look at some of the narratives that is happening, they say, no, among the 26 killed, 25 are Hindus, 1 is Muslim, which means the terrorist folk did not see a difference between Hindu and Muslim. But none of them carefully study the modus operandi. None of them carefully study what he said, what was actually happening in the field that particular day. I would say it is a very unfair defense. Many a times I keep facing it. 4 months when I did a small fellowship in Oxford, every single day, and the professors in UK, my only job from morning till night was defending that we are not doing anything wrong in our country. It is not a kangaroo court that is running our country. We are elected by the people. We have a mandate. I am just ending my argument with one more. 2013, the UPA government brought a bill. Luckily, it did not become an act. If I'm recalling that bill for you, it says, Prevention of Targeted Violence, Communal Violence, 2013. If somebody is reading that bill, it came into the parliament. It was debated in parliament. If you read that bill, it says, a communal violence can be done only by a majority community against a minority community. It says only Hindus can always be the aggressor. It is all the time the Muslims are the people who are suffering at the hands of Hindus. Luckily, the Congress government withdrew in 2013 because the elections were coming, it was becoming a big blowback. This kind of bills, this kind of debates happening. When my friend says that our parliament hasn't sat much, people just have to compare the dates. If people's job coming into the parliament is to oppose one man for the sake of opposing from morning till evening, not allowing the business of the house to happen, and then squarely putting the blame on the government. Did any point of time the government of the day now not call the parliament? Did they not invite the president to come and give the address? Did they prorogue the parliament endlessly to say that the parliament will not sit on a particular date? It is every elected person of this country has got a common wisdom to make sure the institutions of different government function normally. And that is very unfair. I'm very happy that you are starting this particular conclave with this topic so that people should understand what happened for the last 250 years was like a speed bump, a roadblock. Now we are only trying to set things in right historical context, because in my table also you have mentioned Vikshit Bharat and the promise of a civilizational state. It is important that India should progress towards something called a civilizational state. And a lot of steps is happening in the last 11 years to make sure that is going to happen right in the times you are going to live. Now, Mr. Chandrachud, the previous Chief Justice of our country, in one of his last judgment, he said, yes, right. We have to reopen and see the character of the mosque, whether a temple pre-existed. I think it is important now as a country, we get into a lot of these unresolved issues and start resolving in a peaceful way, in a sense of brotherhood, in a sense of fraternity, in a sense of respectfulness for all the community. There cannot be one single community which says that, no, we are the sole guardians of secularism in our country. In our country, Samyukta, you should be knowing this. There are 13,764 minority institutions. 13,764. The Constitution gives them a mandate. In this 13,764 minority institutions, no reservation is applied. But in Tamil Nadu, the state in which I belong to, 478,000 acre of temple land is under government control. If I question that, they will say you're against the Constitution. But nobody will talk about 13,000 and not minority institutions where no reservation is applied. We accept it, fine. It's a Supreme Court judgment. But all over our country, 7.5 lakh acre of land is occupied by governments, temple lands. And how are you going to resolve it? Again, I'm coming to the Waqf issue. When you want to talk about Waqf, a lot of our friends will say, no, why are you opening a Pandora's box? Till 2013, you had 18 lakh acres under the Waqf management. Last 10 years, 21 lakh acres got added. Last 10 years. 39 lakh acres under the Waqf board, that too from 2013, you're talking of Waqf by user. Anybody can come and say, this is my land. The temple lands are classified as Waqf land. Last 10 years, we have added 21 lakh acres. What stops you and me, the people of our country, from bringing a law in the parliament to clarify how a land should be classified as Waqf? Again, if you do this, people call majoritarian. No, since you are in power, you are using a majority brute force. If you want to use the majority brute force, we might not have waited for the Supreme Court judgment. You would have brought something called a Ram Temple Act in the parliament and built a Ram Temple. Why did we wait for the Supreme Court to resolve it? That is a sign of maturity, a wisdom of a country. The same way, unless you don't resolve the Madura, unless you don't resolve the Benares, unless you don't resolve all this, like my brother said, the ghost will be hiding under his bedroom, under his bathroom. One day the ghost is going to come out. It is better you allow all the ghosts and phantoms to come out now. Resolve it. Once for all, you clean your slate and then you move forward. I'll respond to that. I personally believe that we have elected the Prime Minister of our country to govern and not to do press conference and increase the TRP of television channels. We're very clear about that. And when I sit here, I talk for the Prime Minister because we belong to the same party. All of us are Karyakata. That is how we see it. And I am responsibly sure whoever is there, each of the words that we speak, we're very careful with respect to what we speak. And we expect the Prime Minister to come and do press conference. It is our only job to increase all the TRPs and to answer a select group of people, 50 people. Who are those 50 people? So I'm not getting into that. I'm sure we have a collective wisdom to tide over that and look at Prime Minister in terms of the performance he's doing. Now, with respect to the reservation, we have to understand the Constitution extends the reservation for every 10 years. Reservation is not in perpetuity. You keep extending it for 10 years. With an understanding that people should keep quickly coming up, and you have a measurable value in which you can see whether people are improving. Recently, when a Supreme Court gave a judgment with respect to the SC and ST, with respect to the reservation policy, it might not be applicable to every single person, because if somebody has utilized it once, then probably we have to take a relook at it. Then our government, the current government in power, we said we don't agree with the wisdom of the Supreme Court, and we said further, no, the situation is not conducive. The socio-economic conditions are not conducive for us to just go back and say we are going to limit reservation to a certain segment. As we speak, we have to understand historically as we speak now, if you look at the socio-economic indicators, OBC, SC and ST, in whatever context they have suffered, there is an historical problem. Even now, it is not that they all on the same platform, they all do a same 100-meter running race, it is still there. I think it is our duty, all of us as common citizens, to make sure still that level of equality is met. We have to handhold and keep pushing and keep taking them along. That is the response I can give. But having said it, I am very sure one fine day as a country, we all look at it. And even right now, reservation is not there for every single thing. And even anybody coming through reservation, we should not put our head down and say, oh, they came through the reservation, probably the quality is not good. No, it is not. People who have come through the reservation channel, be it the civil services, they are fantastic administrators. It is just at some point of time, they need a leg up, somebody need to pull their hand and give them a fair opportunity.